grace of heaven, virtues of masters, grand predecessor, transmitters, lecturers, and everyone here to give me this chance to learn to speak. Today's topic is I'm going to do is called Samantabhadra's Bodhisattva. Samantabhadra Bodhisattva. In Chinese, it's called Pu Xian Pusa. There are 4 well-known Bodhisattvas in East Asia. Each of them symbolize the Buddha's emphasis on different aspects of Dharma practice. They are Avalokitesvara's compassion, Manjushri's wisdom, Siddhigarbha's vow, and Samantabhadra's practice. The word Samanta means universally extending. Bhadras means great virtue. Combined together, the 2 words becomes Samantabhadra, which means universal virtue and universal worthy.
That's the English translation of that Samantabhadra Bodhisattva.
He is a Bodhisattva in Mahayana Buddhism associated with the Buddhist practice and meditation. Samantabhadra, known in Japan as Fujin, was worshipped as guardian of Lotus Sutra. In China, he is known as Pu Xian Bodhisattva and dwelt in Ermei Mountain. He was also famously known for his 10 great vows. Due his teaching of 10 great vows, he was known as Great Conduct Bodhisattva. He is normally portrayed riding on the 6-tusked white elephant. The 6 tusks have multiple meanings. They represent overcoming attachment of 6 senses, the 6 perfection or paramitas, and the 6 ways in which Bodhisattvas pursue their spiritual cultivation so they may attain enlightenment and save all sentient beings. Samantabhadra actually had attained Buddhahood. However, he did not enter nirvana in order to continue guiding sentient beings to attain enlightenment. Samantabhadra represents the universal entity embodying all Bodhisattvas' practice and merits which must be fulfilled in order to attain Buddhahood. According to the Flower Garden Sutra, Bodhisattvas practitioners must dedicate all of their efforts to enlightenment of all sentient beings and sacrifice everything for the welfare of all beings. In this way, the boundary of selfhood and the limitation of self-effort are transcended, and one enters into the ocean of merits of all beings, an ocean of merits which is the Samantabhadra's pervasive body of virtue. Samantabhadra's 10 great vows, which he contributed to Avatamsaka Sutra. The sutra became the leading guidelines of all Bodhisattvas. In the sutra, Samantabhadra teaches his disciples how wisdom only exists when it benefits everyone. The 10 great vows are to venerate all Buddhas, to make praise to the infinite number of Buddhas, to make offerings to Buddhas. The most meaningful offering is to practice the Buddhist teaching so as to benefit oneself and all sentient beings. To repent and reform all karmic hindrances accumulated from our thoughts, words, actions throughout our past reincarnations. To rejoice and join others' merits and virtue. To pray that Dharma will, Buddha's teaching, will be passed on. To petition that Buddhas remain in the world to benefit more sentient beings. To always follow Buddha's path teaching in order to attain enlightenment. to live harmoniously with all living beings, to respect all sorts of beings, and be as attentive to them as he would to his own parents or even to Buddhas. To reflect all culminating merits and virtues back to all living beings for their salvation. So the first 8 vows guide oneself to enlightenment, while the last 2 are help to others to reach enlightenment. This is the image of Samantabhadra on top of 4 elephants. There was a story of a Chinese Buddhist monk named Hui Qi, who went to Ermei Mountain in China, Sichuan province, in 399 and built a temple devoted to Samantabhadra. Since then, Ermei Mountain becomes the sacred site of Samantabhadra, which where his 10 direction statues are situated. Samantabhadra sits on top of 4 elephants and faces 4 directions, so that he can protect and help all sentient beings from all directions. His white elephant represents the steadiness and the power of Buddhism to rid the world of suffering. On his elephant, Samantabhadra can break his body into hundreds of thousands of bodies and ride into all directions, which are north, south, east, west, northeast, southeast, northwest, southwest, up and down, to protect sentient beings and help guide them to achieve enlightenment. This is why he is shown with his 10 crowned heads. His 10 heads also represent the 10 vows he made in the Avatamsaka Sutra. In his hand, Samantabhadra holds a lotus leaf parasol, which symbolizes purity. This is the image of Samantabhadra with her blue naked body with his consort. According to Tibetan Nyingma tradition, Samantabhadra is an original Buddha who gave rise to all other Buddhas. His naked blue body is the symbol of nothingness and a lack of form. The woman sitting on him is Samantabhadri, his consort and female equivalent, who is often portrayed in white body, which represents wisdom. Both are not closed to show the simplicity of the mind. The tantric embrace of Samantabhadri and Samantabhadra symbolize the union of kindness and wisdom. So this is the image of the Sakyamuni Trinity. Samantabhadra and Manjushri both serve as assistants to Sakyamuni Buddha in guiding sentient beings to attain enlightenment. Together with Sakyamuni Buddha and Manjushri, they form Sakyamuni Trinity in Buddhism. Sakyamuni sits in the middle of the lotus flower, symbolizing pureness despite growing in the materialistic world. His hand holds formed the Fear Me Not Mudra and sit with his leg crossed, a pose often used for meditation. On his left, Manjushri sits on a lion, symbolizing the ability of Buddhism to defeat all obstacles, and hold a sword to represent Buddhist principles. In this trinity, Samantabhadra always sit or stand to the right of Sakyamuni Buddha, and often on top of a white elephant. He holds a scroll on which the Avatamsaka Sutra was written and his 10 great vows. Image of Samantabhadra in female figures. Samantabhadra is a protector of Lotus Sutra, the only sutra which promised enlightenment directly to women, so he is sometimes portrayed with female features. According to other sutras, the only way for a woman to reach enlightenment would be for her to be reborn as a man. Samantabhadra was believed to be the protector of those who were devoted to Lotus Sutra. Therefore, Samantabhadra became an important figure to all women and their prayers. And then lastly, there's the myth about Samantabhadra. In the 13th century, there was this priest who prayed and meditate asking to see Samantabhadra in its true form as described in the sutra. One day, while he was meditating, the priest fell asleep. He was told in his dream to go to a certain courtesan's house and he would see Samantabhadra there. After he woke up, he did as he was told in his dream and went to the courtesan's house. As he was entering the courtesan's house, a beautiful woman was entering his guest by playing a small drums and singing a song of a famous river. As the priest began to adapt his surroundings, the courtesan looked directly at him, and to his surprise, her form changed into form of Samantabhadra. A beam of light was emitted from her brow, and she sat upon an elephant with 6 tusks. She continued to sing, but the words the priest heard were much different than the other men in the room, which are, "On the vast seas of cessation, do the winds of 6 desires and of the 5 corruptions never blow. Yet the surface of the deep is always covered with the billowing of the attainments to the reality in itself." After this moment, the courtesan went back to singing about the rivers, and the priest realized that only he could see the manifestation of Samantabhadra, and the other man could only see the courtesan. After the song, the woman left the room, and the other man began to depart. The priest was the last one to leave the house, and just before he reached the gate, the courtesan appeared in front of him and told him not to tell anyone what he saw tonight. She then disappeared back into her house. So this myth is meant to teach the priest, the readers, the listeners, and that Samantabhadra may choose any form, and that chosen form will likely have an important purpose. In the case of the courtesan, which is a low and sad existence, the Buddha will help man to understand the deceptions of illusion. That's it. So if I have said anything wrong, I ask saints and Buddhas for forgiveness and everybody's correction. Thank you.
That's it.
Any questions? Feedback?
Question?
You said it has 2 forms, the male form and the female form.
Yeah.
Any reason why they have to choose?
What?
Yeah, switch forms, the male and female form. Why did they switch up their forms?
He switched the form in order to help guiding the female to reach an attainment, enlightenment. Yeah, just like Guan Yin Bodhisattva. Yeah. Yeah, there's no fixed forms for Buddhas.
The image of the male and female together, is that, because I've seen this image before, are there other images that one, are there other images like that are not of Samantabhadra?
I'm not sure.
Or every image is like that is always Samantabhadra, because I've seen this before.
I think in this kind of form, they might have a different background, but in this form, I think that's the Samantabhadra.
Oh, okay, so different backgrounds,
female
different Buddhas expressing the same thing, the male, female.
I think if in this
That one,
blue
exactly.
body and with the, but the background might be different, but it still could represent the same.
Okay, so the
Same
background could change.
Yeah.
it. Okay.
I don't know.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any questions? No questions?
So, transmitters, lecturers, do you have anything to
No, you
add?
should look at the 10 vows.
Yeah.
You know, the first vow is the most common vow. I mean, it's the foundation vow.
El primer vow es
You know, it's in our 15 precepts. I mean, 15 十五条.
尊敬
The
先
The
佛
first
，the first one. First vow.
Can we pray this
Venerate,
for
you know,
everybody else?
Respect, venerate. That's the first one.
respetar
It's the foundation.
esa fundación.
Because if you don't have that, forget about the others.
No puede
Forget about
olvídate
them.
de
Seriously.
nosotros.
Seriously. The others don't matter. Because then it's all form.
Todos son formas.
Get it? The first one is the most important. It's really
Lo
to
más importante.
your true nature. It's really to
Para tu verdad,
to
tu
truly
tú,
understand, realize your Buddha nature. That's the first one.
verdad, de ser, de ser libre.
That's really the first one.
Well, it's similar to the first, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it comes, you know, kind of
Yeah.
main phrase. Like that's really to manifest. The first one is more like the internal need, you know, it's to understand, truly realize your Buddha nature. If you do that, you realize that we're all one. Yeah? You're one, okay? Then the second one is, oh yeah, you express it, you manifest it.
Okay,
You get it?
okay.
The rest is all really manifestation.
Son derivados o manifestaciones
So that's why,
de la
if
primera.
you don't understand the first one, if you don't realize the first one, the rest is all
La
just
primera,
a form and just
los
a
restos
show.
son una
But
forma
it's empty. You get it?
pero vacía.
Right? People say, oh, it's a thought that counts, right? You make a gesture, but if your gesture is empty, insincere, it's meaningless. Understand? Understand that. That's the key. That's the core. So you have to have that core. 核心. If you don't have that core, the rest is all show. It's all window dressing. You get it? It's a empty shell. So that's the fundamental. That's what Buddha nature class. That's the whole point of Buddha nature class. Understand that? Because we tend to become fixated, not fixated, but yeah, sometimes you could say fixated, you go to the extreme, but we tend to focus on the external, on the form. You get it? But we have to understand there's something beyond that, or something that really drives that. Maybe that's the key. Okay? The essence, the core that drives it. And what is that core? You get it? So if you understand the core, if you realize it, then the rest is easy. The rest is just natural. We say natural. Becomes like we say wu wei, right? There's no why. No why. Oh, why you do this all. Right? There's no more why. Understand? Wu wei. And then also no more what? Comparison. Distinction. Right? 能所. So those are the two. That's the key. So what is that something? What is that essence? What is that core that has wu wei, wu neng su? What is it? What is it? Obviously, it has no form. Obviously. So it's that Buddha nature. Understand? Make sense? That's the oneness, we call it. Okay? So that's why we study Buddha nature class. Because we want to get to that level of that wu wei, or non-motivation, or no motiveness, or non-duality you call it, or a non-neng so, which is non-duality. Okay? So we want to get to that level, that core. So and once we are in that realm, you can say, or state, then everything will flow from it. You get it? It's from in to out, not from out to in. Yeah. When we're starting to learn, yes, to cultivate, we do from out to in. But we have to understand, everything is all form. It's not real. You get it? It's not the essence. Not, we say pureness, quiescent, tranquility, 清净, right? 寂灭, all those terminologies, all those terms or concepts or descriptions are pointing to that essence. Understand? That's the key. That's it. That's it. I think we call it that's it. Or 如是. That's Tathagata. That's it. That's it. Alright? So that's very important. Sorry.
No, thank you.
Now that's the same as what Confucius talks about sincerity, right? Because there's the five constants, the five constant virtues. Right? Sincerity is in the middle. The sincerity is the most important. That's really, really showing it's coming from your true nature, your Buddha nature, right? So that's everything comes from that. I mean, so that's the same thing as what Kai was just saying. That wu wei, or that true sincerity, that it's coming from that Buddha nature, that true nature. So Confucius is really talking about the same thing.
Yeah, just from a different, different angle or different terminology.
Yeah.
But it's really the same.
Right.
Question.
Yeah, I mentioned something about even the action, if it's empty action or something. It's okay. I don't even remember right now because I'm translating. But. Thank you.
Anything else?
Maybe I have a little story.
Go ahead.
Just wanted to say. So I was on the train a few weeks back with my friend's daughter, the first time in New York, young girl, and she helped a lady carry up the little boy, 2 years old. And the lady had another infant, and she was heavy and big. So the train was full, pretty full. All the seats were full, and finally somebody gave a seat to the little child. But the mother's still standing with the baby, so there was a couple near us on the other end of the seat. And this gentleman was commenting to my friend's daughter, wow, can you imagine nobody gets up for them? And so there was a couple, maybe mid 30s, and just very nicely, and they had to have a discussion. They had actually, after they heard the gentleman talking and the girl about it, then they felt a little bit uncomfortable, and they discussed whether they were going to get up to give the seat, because they would both have to get up. We'll get up, should we get up together to give them the seat? Because then you need a seat for the baby and the boy and the mother. So anyway, I was just really stunned that they had to actually go through a whole rendition, a whole discussion to finally get up and actually give the seat. And I just thought that's something that should just be natural. And I just don't know where, we've gone with this, and so yeah, the Buddha nature has to. And then I saw a gentleman carrying a young little girl. She was running, and he picked her up, and there was a butcher market with all these hanging baby sheep or lamb, whatever, de-skinned, some deheaded, and blood, and she said, what happened? And he said, oh. And then she said, I want to go back there to see what happened, She was concerned for them. And he said, oh, well, they fell down because they didn't listen to their mommy, and they fell down, and that's what happened. And then she said, because they didn't, what? How that happened, though, the head. And then he took her away from it, and she ran back, and then he said, this is our steak, this is our meat, the steak, this is steak, this is the steak we eat. But I just thought, this little child is thinking that these animals didn't listen to their mommy, and that's how they got butchered. But anyway, I'm just saying how our Buddha nature, the child was soul, her Buddha nature was compassion and concern, and it just got totally wiped out and put fear instilled, and then, anyway. I'm sorry if it didn't have anything to do with this. Thank you.
So our original nature is covered up by all the, we use reasoning, we use whatever, try to rationalize things and try to, those are all excuses, right? To cover up that, trying to, you can say, to support our desires, things like that, right? So that kind of
views.
Our views, yeah, right. But those are probably all wrong views. From the Buddhist point of view, they're all wrong views about the world, about us, right? So that's why the Four Noble Truths. The first one is we have to have the proper view of life, our understanding, of life, of reality, of the truth. Because if we don't have that right proper view, that's like a direction, right? So the direction is wrong, then
everything else is wrong.
Yeah. So no matter how much we cultivate, it's in the wrong direction. So we won't achieve in the end. We won't get to enlightenment.
Yeah. Don't forget that what Buddha's the Eightfold Paths and the Four Noble Truths, etc. It's to attain one thing only, that Buddha. He didn't tell you. He didn't teach about how to become an arhat or how to become a celestial being, qi tian xian. None of that. To him, because yes, an arhat can transcend samsara. That is true, but that's like a dead end. It's like a dead end. It is because you're stuck there. You're not a Buddha. Okay. So his view is that since we all have that Buddha nature, we all have the same essence. Why not? Why is it that not we want to reach that supreme level, that ultimate level? Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, right? 无上正等正觉, right? Why not? Right? Of course you should go back to that because we originally are that, right? So that's the whole point. That's the whole point. Nothing else, nothing less, nothing more, nothing less. That's it. So that's why proper understanding the Eightfold Path, the first one, right? The first path is the key. You can say it's the key. I mean, from our level, from the beginning level. I mean, if we go more advanced, it's okay. Okay, you could do all those simultaneously. That's all. Okay. So that's the most important, to realize, understand our Bodhi mind, our Bodhi nature. Which is our Buddha nature, but sometimes Buddha nature is so abstract, it's so hard, but that's okay. It's our lecturer like to say, 不生不灭的心. He likes to use that phrase constantly. I mean, almost every paragraph he uses that phrase. It just means our Bodhi mind. Okay, I mean, from our level, our perspective, we can say Bodhi mind. It's our Buddha nature, the mind of our Buddha nature. But Bodhi mind is good enough. Okay, all right.
I just came from the Chinese class. We talk about the six patriarchs. The key here is Buddha treat all the living beings as Buddha. Okay, they all see Buddha are Buddha, living beings are Buddhas too. Human being, we treat Buddha as Buddhas. And then human beings are human beings. Okay? Living beings are living beings. So we see the difference because we always stay in the form. Human being, we're going to achieve this akar. I guess get wealthy, healthy, all those forms. We try to get there. But those situations, if we don't away from those forms, we're going to be in this reincarnation. And once we away from the forms, become a Buddhas. That's the only way one day we're going to get there, away from the form. No matter how powerful, how wealthy, how poor, or how bad we are, those are all forms. We need to be away one day. We are not away. We're going to be reincarnated. We're going to be stay there, stay in the form. So our Buddha nature, we are lucky now. We just talk about in the Chinese class. We are lucky now. We talk about Buddha nature. We talk about 10 years ago. I remember the Sense Buddha always talk about all those Buddha nature, and I did not understand what the Buddhas are talking about. At that moment, I have no clue. Until the last few years, we start talk about Buddha nature class. Now you say, oh, wow, we are lucky now. In this temple, we talk about Buddha nature, but not other temples. Okay, only a few temples we talk about Buddha nature. So there are different levels of cultivation. One is a lot of normal people they cultivate in the temple there. They have in Taiwan, in China, in Asia, you can say million people in those temples there. Okay? Yeah, and then next level is also Kung Fu, meditation, right? Second level. The last level is what? Buddha nature, Buddha nature. Okay? Buddha nature class. So I always think it's how lucky we are. I always think about myself. Man, I will never get a chance to be that lucky to study the Buddha nature class. We need to really, the Buddha nature is whatever we have in heaven, whatever we have there, we need to recover. Whatever we don't have, we need to get rid of it. Like our bad habit, all the three poisons, greedy, anger, stubborn, arrogance, right? Although all those stuff which we didn't have originally in our Buddha nature, we need to get rid of them in order to as soon as we get rid of them, we'll be getting on the path of cultivation. We can get there. So that's what we all have to remind ourselves, encourage with each other all the time. Try to get there. And then we want to make sure, Holy Teacher always said, if we don't cultivate this lifetime, we don't become a Buddha. When we come back next lifetime, try to receive Tao, to cultivate, Holy Teacher may not be there. Tao may not be there for us. So we need to make sure we can get there this lifetime. Bring all the people, whoever has affinity with us, bring them together to go there. Thank you.
Oh, sí, yo quiero también compartir.
Yeah.
Estoy escuchando y hay cosas que son difíciles o extensas de explicar, como la representación del hombre y la mujer.
Like el dibujo. Okay.
Sí.
Oh, there are things that are difficult to grasp, like the drawing of the man and the woman.
Mm-hmm.
Y también
And
en ese momento es lo que yo quiero compartir ahora, que
that's what I wanted to share at this moment.
Yo acepto a Buddha Ench
That I accept
y
the Buddha.
eso es el centro
This
de
is
todo,
the center of everything.
¿no? Y se hace más fácil, creo, la explicación para mí.
And it's been more of a facts, explanation of facts.
Y bueno, también compartir de lo que
And also to
dice
share
que tenemos que
that we
liberar
have
nuestro
to-
corazón de las situaciones, de las circunstancias.
que tenemos que qué?
Que liberar nuestro corazón
Oh,
de
that
las
we have to liberate
circunstancias.
our heart to these to the things, these things.
Porque eso nos libera.
¿Una qué?
Eso nos libera.
Niveras.
Sí. Nos hace tener más paz.
Oh, yeah, to have more peace in our heart. It's a necessity.
¿No? Y todos esos conocimientos los recibimos acá.
All the teachings that I've received here,
Y yo también estoy muy contento de estar acá y recibir ese conocimiento.
I'm also as grateful also to be here to receive these teachings and these learnings. So,
Good job.
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. We don't care how fortunate, how lucky we are today.
Que nosotros
Until one day we are not around,
que
we'll see how lucky we are.
hasta
Right?
que un día
Feel
relief or feel regret.
yeah,
One or
lo
the
siente
other.
que suerte.
We don't want to regret.
No
we
quiere
don't want
regret.
to. No. We want to be relieved.
Tenemos que estar
Transcend.
Yeah. Liberation also means
Liberación.
non-attachment.
Puede también decir non-attachment, de no
You
estar
get it?
pegado.
So, yes, it's so. Yeah, when you are non-attached, you're liberated. You're free from
Nada,
all
estar
those
liberado.
desires,
Todos
constraints,
los
etc.,
deseos,
etc.
constraints,
All the forms.
Yeah.
todas las
All the
cosas.
forms. That's one step we need to learn how to get there. Get rid of all those forms. Yeah.
But it's like Buddha nature, I'm very fortunate to realize it here, the teachings, but in Asia, they never
No, you don't.
Well,
Yeah.
because it's a different
They
level.
say-
It's a different.
They
Harm is
say
not there.
without the approval,
I
you're
know.
not supposed to.
Different level. Yeah. Even here, we didn't talk about this 5 years plus years
Yeah.
ago. We didn't talk about last 30 years. We just talk about last few years.
Well, we start from the basic. We talk about the basic.
Yeah.
So it's like the,
Yeah.
洋车, right? 路车, right? 牛车, then 白牛车, right?
Yeah.
So really,
Yes.
Buddha nature is the 白牛车, is the right word.
Even not all the even our temple, we have temples everywhere, right? Thousands of temples. Only a few temples talk about Buddha nature. I'm sorry to. Not
So it's very advanced.
Yeah, very special. Not everybody really have opportunity. It's got to get to the level, and then Buddha will say, okay, now it's opportunity for those people to study the Buddha nature class. So
Like my mom know about it, but they never.
no, they didn't know it. That's why. Even the temple, they don't.
That's really the essence of all teachings, of
Yeah.
all the dharmas.
They don't talk about that. That's it.
Well,
I think it's the very basic Buddha nature.
yeah. Well,
But it's hard to understand. Yeah.
yeah. Actually, all the Tao, okay, everything of the Tao, Buddhism, Confucian, Lao Tzu, etc. They're just different levels. Okay? At the basic level, yeah, it's what everybody teach, everybody say, right? You know, yeah, then you go more advanced. At the highest level, at the core, the essence is our Buddha nature. Period. That's it. That's all they talk about. That's really what the highest level is. Okay?
We're lucky enough to heard about those stuff. Otherwise, even we have been in temples more than 20 years. We start to understand a little more just last 5, 10, 7 years. Before that, we have no clue. A lot of times the teachers, Buddhas, they talk about all those stuff. They say, what? Seems we understand, seems we don't understand. So we really don't grab the Buddha nature. Because all this, one master to the other master, they don't talk to each other. What do? Sakamuni Buddha used one flower, just show his disciples. Only one disciple smiled. Who was a disciple? Who smiled? Right? Right? Why did he smile? He realized his Buddha nature saw the flowers. Those flowers are all the events of the universe. So all the forms. So his Buddha nature saw the forms. But he realized, wow, we have a Buddha nature. We didn't know that. So even the light body and dead body, the dead body had the eyes, ears,
the brain,
everything, right? Yeah. How come they couldn't see? They couldn't hear? Because they don't have Buddha nature anymore, right? It's gone someplace else. So that Buddha nature is a key. We need to cultivate, make sure all the stuff which Buddha nature did not have originally, we need to get rid of them. Once we get rid of those, we didn't have originally when we will become a Buddha again. Okay? So that's interesting and very lucky enough for us to hear that. Yeah?
The reason why it's difficult, why in so many temples throughout the world, within the Tao, we don't teach. I mean, it's very few teach about Buddha nature level classes, if you will. It's because we still rely on the conscious mind, Si, right? Yeah. Si, the 6th and 7th, right? Consciousness. We still rely. We have to because just like you teach the kids, right? Children, right? So we're like children, right? You have to learn ABC, 1 + 1, 2 + 2, right? You have to learn that. So that's using our conscious mind. You get it? But at a certain level, after we know the basic, right? After you know the basic, you have to go beyond. You have to go, right? So you have to then become non-conscious mind. What's non-conscious mind? It's your Bodhi mind. It's you can say it's the mind of our Buddha nature. You can say that. I mean, that's another way of saying it. You get it? So we have to reach that level. We have to jump. Understand?
We do a lot of things they don't. For example, in old days, right? Okay, we clean the floor. All day we might say, okay, we hope somebody can see, recognize our efforts. But later on we find out, no, this is the right thing I have to do. I don't need anybody to see that.
Yeah, that's
right?
the Wu Wei.
That's no motive to do that.
Example.
So we have that kind of mindset every day.
Right. Then you are Buddha already.
We go outside, whatever we do, this is the right thing for us to do.
That's Buddha.
Help the living being, do those things. It's right thing for us just to help people do the right thing. We are the Buddha already. Right. Buddha. Yeah, at the moment.
Because you're not using your conscious mind, right? You're not using your conscious mind to say, oh, I'm doing this because I want people to recognize me. No, you're not doing that, right?
Yeah.
So you already go beyond the conscious mind, right?
And that's
make sense?
Buddha is doing that.
See, that's what the Buddha nature is. That's the Buddha Bodhi mind. Bodhi mind. You get it?
Right.
That's an example. That's a practical example.
Yeah. Okay.
Wu Wei, right? We say Wu Wei. Didn't I say Wu Wei?
No more did.
No distinction.
Just do it.
We're all one. We're all the same. Get it?
It's how Buddha treats us the same. We are all one. We are all Buddha.